What's good, everybody? It's BBKDRAGOON here. Today talking about the Lincoln Green, a really cool legendary pulse rifle. It is low impact, high rate of fire, very reminiscent to the Grasp of Malak from Destiny 1, which was a very top tier pulse rifle for a certain era in Destiny 1. And if you're looking for memories of that, look no further than the Lincoln Green. This is a fun weapon. I'm going to put this into the category of fun. It can be very useful, but it has some very obvious drawbacks. So let's hop into the perks. First up, we have Quick Draw. The weapon can be drawn unbelievable fast, good for quick swapping. Steady Rounds, which is what I recommend, increases the stability, slightly decreases the range. You then have the option of Alloy Magazine. I don't recommend this because even though you do get a little bit extra range, it drops the stability and you need every ounce of stability that you can get with this gun. The IS-5 Circle greatly increases the handling speed, how fast you can ADS. The Model 6 Loop increases the range and increases the handling speed. This is the scope that I recommend for this weapon. Mark 15 lens does push out the range further and way decreases the handling. I don't recommend it, at least for PvP. It's just way too difficult to manage, so Model 6 Loop. The intrinsic perk is rapid fire frame, deeper ammo reserves, and slightly faster reload when the magazine is empty. So the Lincoln Green's recoil pattern is its biggest weakness, the Achilles heel of this gun. It pulls so darn hard to the right, it's crazy. I don't think I've ever used a pulse rifle throughout all the weapon reviews in Destiny 1 that pulled this hard in one direction. And the Lincoln Green just goes hard right, whether you're using steady rounds or alloy magazine. It's a lot heavier on alloy magazine, but it's still going to be a little bit challenging to manage. Most weapons is usually a little bit right or left, and mostly vertical. The Lincoln Green sort of flips that on its head. It's mostly horizontal recoil, and that can be really difficult to manage in fights, especially if you're spamming the trigger as fast as possible. It should be noted with this pulse rifle, if you slow your burst down slightly, the recoil becomes far easier to manage. But most players aren't used to managing horizontal recoil, myself included, so it can just feel pretty awkward in a lot of gunfights. And let's say you use the Lincoln Green for 5-6 matches, when you go back to another pulse rifle that's primarily vertical recoil based, it can sort of create this weird, almost bad habit where you're trying to actually control horizontal more than the vertical. I don't know if that makes sense, but really that's the one drawback to this weapon and what puts it into the really fun category. That, and it's a fairly average range stat. You're not going to be cross-mapping people with this, but that's not its intended purpose. The Lincoln Green is intended to be used in closer situations than what pulse rifles normally work well in. And that's when it's actually quite fun, because you can sort of go toe-to-toe with some auto rifle players in the close mid and mid ranges, where a lot of times the Uriels or the Origin story would win. The Lincoln Green can push enough damage downrange so long as you're landing precision shots. The Lincoln Green deals 18 precision damage and 12 body damage, pretty standard for these higher rate of fire, lower impact pulse rifles. That means the weapon can 4-burst an opponent if you're landing primarily precision shots, and that's a really fast takedown, especially up close and personal, just very, very quick. Another really big benefit of the Lincoln Green is the Quick Draw perk. A lot of people overlook this, but it allows you to swap to this weapon really, really quickly. So if you've got something in your energy slot that is a solid weapon in PvP, and you need to switch to the Lincoln really quick, a Quick Draw becomes one of those things that opponents usually can be caught off guard with. Damage falloff will begin earlier than the slower rate of fire, high impact pulse rifles like what we've reviewed here on the channel so far in the last prediction. The Lincoln Green shines best in the support role, where you play with your teammates. You're not the instigator of fights, but you're the one doing your best to help clean up and support your teammates in their gunfights. And that's where the Lincoln Green really is awesome, where you can focus on that recoil management. You're not under stress of a 1v1, but you're just throwing a ton of damage downrange. And you can be, like I said, somewhat aggressive with the weapon in a team pushing scenario. The weapon really has no perks that make it excel in PvE. As with most of these weapon reviews, unless it's outright built with a perk set designed more for PvE, it's just going to fall into the sort of average play space, and that's really where the Lincoln falls. I would not use this pulse rifle in PvE unless I absolutely had to. There's far better options with higher impact pulses if you want to use this type of weapon. The Lincoln Green drops from a ton of different activities. You can get these from legendary engrams by doing public events or adventures on the patrol spaces. And like I said, fairly common drop rate, shouldn't be hard to find. Really fun weapon. Obvious drawbacks. The recoil is what holds this thing back. If you get really good at managing it and can pull the crosshair left during the fight, it's quite useful. Not S tier. I would almost say it's not even A tier. It's probably on the border of B, like B+, maybe A-, depending on the player. And that's always, a good player can make an average gun feel a heck of a lot stronger. And if they learn how to play to its advantages, sure, you could put this in like A-. But for most people, this is going to be a B tier pulse rifle. It's really darn fun to use though. And that's something that shouldn't be overlooked. PvP isn't always about finding the most effective weapon, because if it was, everybody's just going to use Mida Uriels or Mida Prosecutor. Try and find some of the weapons that people aren't using. And you may discover a lot of people are not expecting certain playstyles with these underused weapons. So those are my thoughts on the good old Lincoln Green. If you guys enjoyed this review, please let me know by thumbsing up the video. Subscribe for more Destiny 2. The support lately has been off the scale, and I thank you guys very, very much. Good luck on your trials runs this weekend, and I will see you again very soon.